it's been going on about the impeachment, and impeaching 45 is a celebration and a national renewal. For 45's entire life, the notion of accountability has been a foreign concept, something that applied to everyone but him. He's bankrupted multiple businesses, stiffed contractors and creditors, walked away from the wreckage of failed companies and failed mergers with virtual impunity, and was always able to find a new set of benefactors or enablers. When his casinos were losing money, his wealthy father bailed him out multiple times. When he needed to keep an affair that could doom his squatter role bid quiet, he sent hush money to make it go away. As squatter, he found a new coterie of feckless cowards to cover up his misdeeds and help him avoid any political consequences for his actions. On Wednesday evening, that run ended with impeachment. After 73 years, 45 finally received the public comeuppance he has so richly deserved. To be sure, there was good reason to think that they would never come, since the moment 45 took office, there's hardly been an impeachable offense, attack on basic decorum, or violation of a political norm and trust that 45 hasn't committed. Yet he paid no personal or political price for any of it. The Russian investigation he called it a witch hunt, close aides and friends indicted or sent to jail. He said he barely knew them and were losers anyway, which basically he called himself a loser. So yeah, that's what he is. Republican losses in the midterm elections, somebody else's fault. There was always someone to blame, and courtesy of his GOP enablers in the House and Senate and his White House staff constantly clean up his messes, no accountability to him for his actions. While those same Republicans spent Wednesday arguing ad nauseum that Democrats have wanted to impeach 45 since they took office, which is not true, nothing could be further from the truth on this. Indeed, for 9 months, Democrats stubbornly resisted calls for impeachment. They became just one more group of actors afraid to tango with 45. Even after the Mueller report came out, detailing 10 episodes of the squatters obstructing justice, Democrats still wouldn't go to the route of impeachment yet. But then when it came to the Ukrainian call to the Ukrainian president, that went too far. For the first time, someone was willing to say enough is enough. He finally met his match in House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, House Intelligence Chairman Committee Adam Schiff, and House Democrats. In the past, 45 successfully cowed those with the power to hold him accountable. As a businessman, it was the constant threat of lawsuits that kept culpability at bay. As a squatter, it was the menace of a squatterable tweet and his cult-like support among GOP partisans that kept congressional Republicans from speaking up. But as it became increasingly clear that 45 could not bully or intimidate House Democrats into bending to his will, his anger became more intense, as witnessed by the deranged 6-page letter of grievances he sent to Pelosi on Tuesday. It was the ultimate example of 45 lashing out at someone he could not control. Democrats spent much of Wednesday describing the impeachment as a sorrowful moment for the country, a solemn occasion, but the only sorrow I could see was that it took this long for this moment to happen. Rather than an occasion for regret, the House vote on Wednesday should be considered a moment of celebration and renewal. When the Founding Fathers drafted the Constitution more than 200 years ago, they did so with the radical and revolutionary concept that the rule of law was and must be more powerful than the rule of man. In the late 18th century, there was no democratically elected squatter. Political leadership was passed on via succession or by the cannon and the sword. America's founders conceived of a different sort of government, one in which the nation's leader would be accountable to the people via the ballot box. And if that leader abused his or her power as they feared might happen, or acted like the unbending tyrant they had rebelled against when seeking their freedom, Congress would be given the remedy of impeachment to remove such an individual from power, which is 45. The concept of a democratic accountability is one of the great gifts of American democracy, and one that today is largely taken for granted in many countries around the world. That impeachment is rarely utilized. Which is rarely utilized is a good thing. That it occasionally needs to be employed when a leader violates the public trust is a sign of the resilience of our democracy. Wednesday offered a reminder of what makes the American system of government so unique and so great. In America, no man or woman is above the law. As 45 finally learned, that means him too, meaning that he's not above the law and he never was.